What's up, YouTube? We're going to be doing the next video in the Great Crosman Build series, which covers disassembly of the 1322. And the first thing that we're going to do is remove this roll pin here, which holds in the linkage to the pumping arm. And I've already got it backed out most of the way, so I can spare you all of the hammering that's required to get that removed, but I'll always show you how it's done. So we'll start out, we'll just take some books. And there's a number of different ways you can do this. But basically, you want to kind of prop it up, open your arm, open the pump arm here, situate the books so that as much of the barrel and tube are resting on the books as possible. Pump arm is extending away, and then you can hammer a pin in there, something like this. Stick that down in there, and then you just start hammering on it. This one doesn't do very well because it is a little too small, and because they use these hollow pins, it gets stuck in there. So the backup plan is to use an Allen wrench. If you just had a normal pin set, you could hammer it through, but I don't have that, unfortunately. But you can just use an Allen wrench if you do it right. And I hold it with the pliers, and boom, first try, comes right out. And there's your pin once you knock free. So we'll set that down. Okay. So now our linkage is free here. And we can actually remove the barrel band. And be careful because your barrel is going to be loose and wobbly right now. Take your barrel band out. Your piston will slide right out. Okay. Next, we just want to use a slot screwdriver. And we will take our trigger screw out. Got a couple of them. One is a little wider than the other. You want to kind of do this slow. You don't want to strip this or scratch your gun if you care about that sort of thing. I always recommend using the flathead screwdriver here, not a Phillips. We're going to be putting our loose parts into this little piece of plastic so we don't lose them. Okay, after we take out that screw, then we go up top. Take out our upper breech screw. We want to keep our hands on the back of the gun, because there is a hammer that's under pressure here. So we'll take that off. Then we got our rear breech screw in the bottom. Again, placing our finger over the cap on the back. Okay, once you get that screw out, your hammer spring cap will come out. Okay, you don't want to separate your lower receiver here yet. Because you may lose your safety ball and spring, which are very tiny. So you want to remove that when that's upright. You can see that it's really small pieces there. So you have a tiny spring and safety ball there. Okay. Slide our bolt back, and this is a very tiny Allen screw here, so you just very carefully want to work on removing that. You can press the barrel down and they'll take off a little pressure. I had actually initially, before I even started the video, I had kind of started that screw so that it wouldn't be under a lot of pressure, because you don't want to have everything else off and then start to remove the screw that's under a lot of pressure. So it's kind of like when replacing the lug nuts on your tire. You back them out initially a little bit, and then once you have all of them loosened, you go back and take them all the way out. So same principle here. So now our barrel is out, and we have our breech out. This comes apart further, but since we are going to be using our steel breech, we'll no longer need that piece. Nor will we need the barrel band, nor will we need the pin, nor will we need the rear sight. And we just want to make sure that we're taking all of our little screws and we're putting them all together so we don't want to lose anything. Okay. Now we have our main tube here. We've got our port valve. There's a seal in there, which I'm going to use these tweezers to get out. Be very careful because you can chew that up in a heartbeat. So gently remove that. And this is your hammer. You need to back this pin all the way out. It just pulls right out. Your hammer will just fall out. It's got a bunch of grease and grime and gunk on it. And since we'll be polishing this later, we'll clean that up right now. Set that over there in our parts container. Now our valve is still inside here. And I think for this video we're going to go ahead and leave that. We'll get into removing that and deburring this in a later video. Really all you do is you just bang it out. It's not that big of a deal. And we'll get into our trigger assembly here. So I'll face it towards you. That comes off like that. That's all that is, really. And I don't like anything being under pressure, so we'll just remove that spring. You can see it's already bent a little bit. That's not what you want. You want that thing perfectly straight. So we'll fix that later when we do our trigger mods. And then there's, in the trigger housing, there's 3 small Allen screws. And yeah, they do this, I forgot. They'll lock into your tool. So you gotta be careful on that. Get that one later if possible. There, it came off. And that one I'd already pre-loosened, so that'll just screw right out. And then our housing will come off. There's our safety. And there is our trigger. There's a couple pins in here. One for the trigger, one for the sear. You got a shim in there as well. Look how rusty that sear is, so you need a lot of work on that to get that proper again. Okay, so aside from our valve still being in our tube, which all it does is you just push it out with some sort of stick or probe, and you're basically completely disassembled. You can unscrew the valve. It's got a couple parts in there if you want to get into valve work, but we're going to be replacing our valve anyways, so we won't get into that right now. But that is the basic disassembly of the 1322 or 1377 model Crosmans. And stay tuned for the next video. We're going to be modding out this trigger, and we'll have a few videos after that for the other mods. Again, this is the Great Crosman Build video series. If you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.